We'll kick off the define phase by understanding the process. This is the time for the team to understand which process or processes the improvement project will focus on, where it starts, where it ends, and all the stuff in between. We're not getting into the details in this early phase. Rather, we are taking a 30,000-foot view to help us frame our project.
Understanding the process is not about a right or wrong answer. It's about the team creating a shared understanding of the process and the customer. This is not always as easy as it might seem. For many problems that have been defined, there are not clear boundaries. There may not be clear outputs and handoffs. On the next page in your workbook, you have a blank space for you to illustrate, using no words, the steps to making toast. This will seem trivial, but this exercise reveals the reality about how we collaborate to solve problems. Pause this video for a few minutes and draw your diagram.
Anyway, so that's why my dad wears gym shoes in the pool. Oh, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm sure that some of your drawings are quite good. Others maybe not so good, because let's just say that the details of the process might be a little, a little bit vague. And to the artist who supplied the drawing of toast right up here, you thought you were being clever by making an oversimplistic drawing. But it isn't useless. It can still be used as a not so good example.
Good point. Some of your maps might be all about the toast. It's like the toast journey or the toast experience.
Toast.
My favorite is the cartoon guy with the jelly on his face over there.
And maybe some of you drew your maps from the perspective of the toaster. If you're mechanically inclined, you might have drawn the mechanics of the actual toaster.
Some drawings are all about the people and visualizing the experience that people have. And others might be about the supply chain that goes all the way back to the store. What's so interesting, though, is that even though the drawings are hugely different, they all have something in common. Most have tasks and flow. That's the links between the tasks. And our graphics make it clear how we think something works. They also reveal our different points of view.
In a way, we can get a feel for how complex a process is by counting the number of tasks. When we create a process map, we are breaking something that can be very complex into simple parts, and then we bring all the pieces back together again.
And this brings us to the topic of high-level process maps. Just like with your toast diagram, a high-level process map is a graphical display that shows the flow and the steps in a process. Through your Greenbelt training, you'll learn many different types of maps. Each has its own purpose, its own benefits, and something about each map that makes it unique. Additionally, maps can show different perspectives. A map can be a current state, which we use to understand how things work today, or a future state, which we'll use when we get to the improve phase to illustrate how things will work in our improved process. At this point, at the very beginning of the define phase, the team will use a current state, high-level map to understand the process, the customers, and to develop clarity around this project.
And the team will use a map called the SIPOC. This is a small but mighty tool and should be used for every project. If I was stranded on a desert island and could only bring one CI tool, it would be the SIPOC, Claire.
Oh, same for me. If my hair was on fire, I'd still use a SIPOC.
We might have to do it very quickly then. What's different about a SIPOC from other process maps is that it's high level. It includes the supplier and inputs, as well as the outputs and customers. And very importantly, it includes requirements.
Let's start nice and simple with the paper airplane process example. We'll talk through this in the same order that the team will create the SIPOC. And this is in the order of output, customer, input, supplier, and then the process, or OCISP. We are a team that's been pulled together to improve the production of our paper airplanes. And the team agrees that the output of the process is a finished paper airplane. The airplane goes to the customer who ordered it. The process starts when we receive our plain paper. That's our input. And it comes from the paper factory. That's the supplier of the input.
Lastly, the team agrees on the high-level steps that it takes to turn that plain piece of paper into a completed airplane. And they illustrate it here in the P column. When you create a SIPOC in real life, the challenge can be to keep the team from diving into too much detail too early on. At that stage of the project, we want to stay high level. Just remember the SIPOC mantra. Stay as high as you can, as long as you can. One of the first places we taught this concept was in Amsterdam a long time ago. We said, stay as high as you can, as long as you can. What did they say, Claire?
We intend to. Anyway, now let's do a little more realistic business process with our call center issue resolution example. The team agrees that this process ends when a call is resolved. So our output is a resolved issue. And that resolved issue is presented or delivered to the customer who called with a problem. Next, we move to the input, and the team agrees that the process starts when a call is received, and the supplier of that call is the caller, the customer. In most transactional or service processes, the supplier and the customer are the same person.
Now the team moves to the process steps. The rule of thumb is to keep the process steps at a high level with no more than 5 to 7 steps max. The team has some discussion and decides that the 4 major steps are: understand the question, discuss the details with the caller, research the issue, and then explain the resolution.
Now, someone in the team says, hey, but we don't explain the resolution to the caller. We send an email to the account manager and they call the customer. So the team revises their SIPOC to show the output is an email and it goes to the account management team. This is where it's important to understand that the customer of the process is not always the end customer or external customer, the one paying for the services. Internal customers are downstream processes or other parts of the business that receive our output. In our SIPOC, the C indicates the recipient of our output.
Let's add a little bit more complexity with our cup of coffee example, where we have multiple inputs and multiple outputs. The team identifies that the process ends when we have delivered a cup of coffee and an invoice to the customer who ordered the drink. The process starts when we have received an order, in person or using our app, from the coffee drinker. And in our project to improve this process, we will also include a different kind of input, the ingredients. An input to the process is the coffee beans and the artisan spring water that comes from the coffee bean producer. The high-level steps in the process are to add the water to the machine, add the beans to the grinding compartment, press on, and add condiments, and then prepare the invoice.
A few members of the team are having a side discussion, and the project leader asks them to share with the rest of the team. They point out that the people making the coffee and creating the invoice are part of the hotel kitchen staff, and they don't deliver the coffee to the hotel guest, the end customer. They give it to room service, who has their own process to deliver it to the customer. This is a really important distinction as the needs of each customer may differ, and understanding what our customers need, their requirements of our process, is absolutely key for us to understand how to continue to improve.
When we are dealing with a large or complex process, many times it will require multiple SIPOCs to understand how it all connects. In fact, SIPOCs can be linked together so that the output and customer of one process is the supplier and input for the next, and so on. So while we've just walked through a few graphical examples of how the SIPOC is constructed, in reality, the first step to creating one is for the team to get together and sketch it out. The team collaborates and creates the model themselves. This is done in a structured brainstorming session and requires a lot of discussion and changes as the team shares and creates their understanding of the process.
A whiteboard or flip chart is used so that the team has a central focal point and can all participate. The team may invite other subject matter experts to ensure the accuracy of the SIPOC. Each SIPOC element will be captured on a sticky note or with a dry erase marker so that changes can easily be made. As the team builds up their model, they express, reflect, and analyze to get clarity on the process. This activity produces a very rich experience for the team.
So in reality, the SIPOC starts off very messy, gets messier, and then clearer and clearer. The result is a unified model that integrates the diverse points of view of all participants. So the team builds the map together and aligns around the process that they will be improving. Except, of course, they use words, not icons. A little pro tip for the process column on your stickies: use the basic structure of verb plus noun. For example, move boxes, complete form, submit request, sort data, etc. This eliminates a lot of confusion and unnecessary wording.
Once the team has collaboratively mapped out the process in SIPOC form, the next step is to document the raw, messy SIPOC using our template or your own.
You will see cells to capture the process name and process owner, as well as cells to capture the other elements of the SIPOC. In addition, you will notice the light blue, light green, and yellow cells, which are there to capture requirements. Before we complete the SIPOC, we'll first need to learn about these requirements. Customer input and business requirements will be covered in the next chapter, along with our SIPOC 1-point lesson.